In the immediate aftermath of World War I, riots broke out across Britain. Liverpool, South Shields, Salford, Glasgow, Hull, London, Newport, Cardiff. Unemployment was high. There were food shortages and lack of housing. Indigenous white workers and their unions demanded that employers refuse to take on black labourers. And as I said, some of this is very familiar today. The consequences of these riots, not only the actual events, but the consequences were quite tragic.
Lives were lost in the riots. Charles Wootton, a young Liverpool seaman, was chased by a mob 200 strong. They threw him into the Queen's Dock and hurled stones at him until he drowned.
As we get off the bus, these gangs spotted us. Here's some more niggers. Before we knew what was happening, they were chasing us. So we ran like hell. While running, on the left-hand side of Brownlow Hill, I can quite remember it just like yesterday, a woman opened the door. I mean, they were all white women, there were no black women in those days. So my friend and I ran around the corner into the hallway, and we found the door open. We came in, the woman shut the door, and we went upstairs. They made us a cup of tea while she looked through the window to see if everything is all right. And it wasn't long after when she said, okay, you can go now. Now, she saved our lives.
It's worth considering, perhaps, how is it possible that such racist attacks should occur throughout the country from north to south in a spontaneous way? Is that possible? So that's one question I think to consider. The other is perhaps why we know so little about 1919. Clearly it's not that usual to have large-scale rioting involving tens of thousands of people, and it's something which largely seems to be missing from the historical record or historical consciousness. We have, if you like, a tense situation made worse by the press. Perhaps not surprising. And these press reports that I've quoted from, I had to quote from the Manchester Guardian, but also from Liverpool paper, these of course are national papers. It's not as if they're just available in Manchester or Liverpool. So this kind of reporting, sensational reporting, and openly racist attacks are something which is being spread nationally. Average Negro is nearer the animal than is the average white man. Many of the blacks in Liverpool are of a low type, and I've just given you a highlight, as it were, of that report. And then from the Guardian, the quiet, apparently inoffensive nigger becomes a demon when armed with revolver or razor. So again, you can see from the nature of these reports what they are trying to do. I don't need to explain it to you.
The last 100 years, there has been this trajectory of riots in Britain equals disturbances amongst the black community, even though there have been many riots which had nothing to do with the black community whatsoever. Again, if you look at those initial Glasgow riots, they talked of mobs, and the mobs were juxtaposed against the British. Not only were the mobs juxtaposed against the British, but they were also seen, remember a lot of these immigrants or migrants or black or African or coloured, whichever term they used at the time, these people were actually British. A lot of the sailors that came over were British citizens, citizens of the British colonial system. But the way that the press were talking about them, even in 1919, was that they were somehow different. and they took away the Britishness. They expunged that from the narrative of the one half of this context, this duel between one section of the community and another section of the community, and they turned it into a race war.
Going to school, Nana. See you in a bit. See ya.
One condition of funding was that we should team up with a community partner. Well, that was a no-brainer because Real Manchester has an extraordinary track record in enabling individuals, community groups to tell their stories through film and drama.
We celebrate stories, people's real stories, humour, diversity, and the real people that live on estates across our region, and we preserve their stories for the next generations. We've made over 100 films. We're like the Morecambe and Wise of filmmaking. It's like we do a film a week. I don't know when we sleep, but we make quality films. We change the face of community filmmaking in this country.
They're gone. They're all gone. They've taken them all. Where can they be?
Patricia Kumper, who is a playwright, theatre director, producer, award-winning writer, who recently adapted Toni Morrison's beloved and Andrea Levy's Small Island for BBC radio drama. Pat will discuss how history can communicate as drama and will direct a small group of community-based actors who are sitting here performing the scene she's writing especially for this workshop. Thank you very much, Pat.
So there's three main things that you work with as a playwright. It's plot, character, and dialogue. Plot for me is about events, and of course you get lots of that in history. You look through all the events that are there, but the difficult thing really is when you get a lot of information in, and I have, thanks to Paul and Vanessa, got a lot of information in, is where to begin it. Where do you begin the story? And the middle of a story is always the most difficult part because that's how you complicate it and you build it, and then where to end the story. I mean, you know, if you think about the many ways in which a story can be told, those decisions can become the most important, because the classical structure basically is that you establish a world, then a catalytic event happens, something changes, and then however the story builds, it's about attempt and failure, and then attempt and success. That's basically the story of any drama that you're going to see. So I'm looking for that moment, that catalytic event, that something is going to change.
Tony Caldwell, you will know his work. He's an award-winning director of photography of drama and documentary, including Mr. Selfridges, Foyle's War, Wolfblood. And Tony will explain how to translate history to the screen using examples from his work and coordinate the multi-camera filming of the actors' read-through of Pat's scene.
Suspect is surrounded, but still armed. Over.
All that fun and all that snow.
I translate the work of people like Patricia, and I work with directors and I work with actors on a daily basis, and my job is to use my visual storytelling skills to use cinematic language to tell the stories that other people have done research. It's great to come to something like this morning and get the background to this kind of thing. And it will hopefully, because I've only seen the script in the last couple of days, and I saw a YouTube clip, thankfully Terry sent to me, of the read-through yesterday, so I've got a good idea of what we'll get into. But I hope anyway that you will take something away from this workshop today, this great session this morning with the historical context, but then the creative interpretation of an idea this afternoon.
What I would like you to imagine that you're looking at is the interior of a turn of the last century boarding house. It's a little bit tatty, there are big spaces in it, so this area here is a kitchen counter or sink, and this is around the kitchen table. So we're essentially in the kitchen area. This is actually a kitchen sink drama, I didn't even think about that. And the hall is that way, and the pantry, which is large enough to walk into, is back that way. So that's the hallway, this is the kitchen area, and this is the sink, or an area where work is essentially done. Big spaces. There will also, I've written it in such a way that the narration describes the exterior of the guest house and all the other things that are happening. They've been wonderful actors. They've worked terribly hard in the couple of hours we've had, and I can now leave the stage. It's for them.
It could be anybody. Could be.
Panic! Get in the pantry now! Help him now! Let us only peer are yours. Be with you in a moment. Good afternoon. I'm gonna bloody minute.
It's me, Mrs. B. Where's Ezra?
Kathleen.
Is he here? Is he all right? I heard there was a fight at the dock.
Frightening me like that. I better come through. Visitor for you, Ezra.
Michael and then Ezra emerge from the pantry. Kathleen flies into Ezra's arms. He winces, but doesn't let go.
Kathleen?
Your face. They hurt you. Bastards. Bloody bastards.
Yeah, man. But I did give one of them couple lick them myself. What you doing out here, though, girl? You know the street them ain't safe.
Nobody looks twice at me dressed like this, Ezra. Oh, my poor Ezra.
He wouldn't look so bad if he ran like I told him to run.
What happened?
These two arrive on the doorstep looking like they've been through the war. That's what happened.
Listen, I'm all right. 2 days and I'll be ready to go.
You could have been killed.
Oh, maybe he listened to you.
Christ, those bastards. Oh, those bastards. They were just down the end of the street a moment ago, like a pack of dogs.
Right. Michael, go upstairs and tell all the boys to stay in. Keep the windows shut, and I will go downstairs and make sure that all the doors are locked down there.
What can I do?
Look after our wounded soldier and put on the kettle. My nerves need settling.
I think what we'll do for the purpose of this workshop this afternoon is that we'll take the last scene, scene 9. Right, so I'm just going to come around there. Yeah, so we'll not have the narration on this, we'll pick that up as a separate shot. So as you can see, what we've got here, I've got 2 nice profiles here, and what I could do is I could play it on Stacey's performance, or I could throw the focus and I could have Leon taking it through. So I'd probably do a couple of different takes on this. If I could just move that out of the way. We're all ready to roll on this, aren't we? Ed? Yeah. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to give it, so I've got the focus with just the 2 of them here, and I'm keeping the other 2 out. And we're going to roll on this. Okay. Yeah, I'll take it. You got it? Okay. So, recording. And action.
Congratulations.
Nobody knows yet.
Yeah, not the wedding. Your perfect timing.
Pardon?
How did you know someone had been hurt? The fight had only just happened.
People were talking.
People?
Something on your mind, Michael?
Nah, just saying. It's a bit of a coincidence.
She was worried about me, man. She don't have to explain herself to nobody.
Fine.
So, who did tell you, Kathleen?
I knew there was going to be trouble.
Before it started.
Yeah. Yes, before it started.
How?
Does it matter? I'm here, aren't I? Bloody hell. I was worried. I heard them talking, my brother and his friends, that they were out to beat a coloured man. Showed a lot of them who runs the dock.
And you didn't think to warn us.
I didn't think he meant it. Well, they're always shooting their mouths off. I was worried in case something happened to Ezra.
But if it had been me, it'd be all right.
Back off, man. Leave the lady alone. This is not her fault.
Well, I gotta go. My wife will be going spare by now.
What good, man?
No, Michael, stay. It's probably nothing.
Spit it out, child. Your brother isn't here.
There was a policeman there.
What? Talking to your brother? About the docks?
Too many coloured people. Taking our jobs, living in our houses. Get rid of them. Repatriate them. All of them cheering, shouting. It's when the policeman said that his officers were thinking about locking the lot of you up until the troubles were over. He was showing off. Lock them up and throw away the key.
Jesus Christ, Kathleen.
So that's why the disguise. In case your brother found out where you were going.
I didn't think he meant it. I still don't. Just, if you get into trouble, the police aren't going to help you. You should know that.